All right, welcome back to my full build series on the RC10B6.4. This video is going to complete bag number 8, which is the turnbuckle assemblies. I'm going to cut all these rod ends from the trees and we'll get started. All right, here we go. So got these all cut from the trees, and so the next thing that I like to do is I like to lay out my turnbuckle assemblies, because if you look at this turnbuckle, there's a little notch right in there, and that notch represents the left-hand reverse threads, and the other side is standard threads. And so you have to thread half of these into the reverse thread and half into the normal. And so I like to lay these out. And you want to make sure you point that notch the same direction. And so for me, I like my turnbuckle assemblies when you go back, when you rotate back to the rear of the car, they tighten. And so I'm going to put that notch on the left side, which is what they tell you to do in the manual as well. So if you like that, then follow the manual. And then, I'm just going to lay these out like this, so I know what ones are what. And the steering uses these little cockeyed rod ends, and there's a little L on one and an R on the other. And it should be noted that these are marked actually for the 741 four-wheel drive, but on the 10th scale two-wheel drive, they're actually opposite. So you're going to put this L on the right-hand side, so right here, and you're going to put this R on the left-hand side right here. And then you'll do straights on the other end. And finally these down here. And they give you 2 extra straights because some people prefer a straight versus these little cockeyed ones on the end. In fact, the 6.2 that I was running uses the straights, but I'm going to try these because one thing I did notice with the straights is they can get a little bit jammed up at full steering, so I want to try these to see if it alleviates that. So then the next thing I like to do is I use a drill and I chuck up these turnbuckles in the drill, and I'll take one of these, stick a wrench in here, and you start it, and then you check for straightness, and you can move it if it isn't straight, and then you'll want to go in and out a couple times. But I have this little 3D printed tool here that I'm going to use because it helps align these straight without much thought. So you stick it in there and you put this through the hole, and then you bring it in here, and I can see through this window when it's to the end of the thread. I'm just going to bring it in and out twice, and that one is done. So if you don't have all in the description, I'm going to link to a video where I introduce this tool. Actually, I'll show you, since these little cockeyed ones won't fit in the tool, I'll show you how to do it without the tool right now. And just watch these two that they don't get super hot. If they get hot, then you want to wait to let them cool off. Make sure you got the drill going the right way. So you bring that in a little bit, and then you're going to sight down the drill. And just make sure these are on as straight as you can get them. And then just going to go a little more because that wasn't on super good. And if they're not on straight, you can kind of just, if you don't go on too far, you should be able to move these. Okay, and then once you get it on there, then you can bring it in, bring it out, bring it in, bring it out. So that's the pre-threading steps, and again, just make sure this doesn't get too hot. So I'm going to go, and then I'm going to do all the right-hand side ones with this, and then I'm going to flip this turnbuckle and do all the left-hand sides. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to finally assemble these. All right, so now we got these all pre-threaded, and really the next step now is just to build them. And because what I like to do is build these where they're close to the edge of the threads, and then I put them all in the car, and I actually then do the measurements because I find it easier to adjust and keep things aligned. And I like to take this kit grease and just put a little bit on the ends, like so. And make sure you keep these in the right orientation. So the little notch in the turnbuckle goes to the left. And then because we pre-threaded these, they should go right in. And then I just hold it with the wrench, and this supplied tool is the turnbuckle wrench that comes with your kit. And I just like to screw these down. Basically about like that, where you can just barely see the threads. Then we come in with the other side, put a little grease on it. And just remember, these ones are now reverse threaded. You gotta go the opposite way when you're on the side of that little notch. And I screw these ones down. Like so. And you just, try to get the threads about the same protrusion, and then you can do the final adjustments on the car. So we're going to go ahead and do this for all of them, and we'll come back and talk about the next steps. All right, so here we go. We got everything assembled here, and all these notches you can see are still right here to the left on all of these. And so really the final step of this build is to install these camber and steering links on the car. And again, remember that I have not adjusted these yet, but I like to stick them on here and then just push them on with my nut driver. And make sure they rotate freely once you put them on, especially once you adjust them. And just ensure that you're getting that notch to the left every time. All right, those are all on. You can see these are nowhere near appropriately adjusted right now. And so for these front ones, they're actually at an angle. Need to make sure I get these on properly. Okay. So for this one that's on the side like this, I'll get these channel lock / robo grip ones and pop them in. Like so. Okay, and then the final ones here, these steering links, and just be careful too that with these arms going down really far that you can get these CVs to pop out of the outdrive, so be careful to not have that happen. Okay, on these I'm just gonna push this servo over, and I'm gonna use these channel locks to pop these ones on. We'll get that one in a minute. All right, so now we got all the linkage on, and so the final step here now is to get your calipers out and measure these links right here and adjust this to if you're following the kit, they give millimeter dimensions in there, and I'm following a different setup, and so you're just gonna now use this turnbuckle wrench and size these appropriately to those settings. I'm not gonna do that on camera. I think you guys get the point. Just make sure the left and the right are the exact same length and do them in pairs. Okay, so we got these turnbuckles all adjusted evenly and to the setup I was copying, and I just wanted to make one final comment for you guys. And that is when you're doing maintenance and disassembling your car, never pop these rod ends off the ball joint unless you need to. So the way I remove these is there's a hole in the top, and you just put this wrench through and actually pull the ball stud. But you don't want to be popping these things on and off, or it'll wear them out and you'll start popping them during the race. So never pop these off for maintenance. Only if you're actually needing to change the ball stud or the rod end will you pop those off. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please like and subscribe.